Hey gang, Carl Elwine Engines. Today, a new little shop series. Is it worth it or is it worthless? What I'm going to do is walk through the shop at random. I'm going to rate every piece of equipment, or I'm going to rate various pieces of equipment, tools, carts, just the shop implements, and I'm going to rate them as worth it or worthless. It's not going to be so black and white, of course, but they're going to get that rating. There's equipment that could be almost useful, almost worth the money, you know, take it or leave it, whatever. But that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to start off with the first tool, the information age, and namely YouTube. I've learned I've learned quite a bit from YouTube, watching people that do the same thing I do or other topics. Just one of the best tools. YouTube. I don't even need to belabor the point. You're watching YouTube because you know you're going to learn something. You're going to learn what not to do, or you're going to learn what to do. That's the best thing. Is if you can see what didn't work, that is probably more valuable than seeing what did work. So today, is it worth it or is it worthless? Stick with me. All right, so is it worth it or worthless? Where should we start? All right, let's save the main engine building shop for later. Let's go out into the general garage. Lights. I got to start here. I am going to rate lights as definitely worth it. Whatever effort you can put into getting more light, it is worth it. You're going to get, let's say you're going to change your fluorescence to LED. These are still fluorescent. The lighting in here is pretty okay in the main garage, but you know, I had this, the lights were installed at construction. Add more lights. The more lights you can do, the better. That is definitely worth it. I added those and I think they're worth it, but they don't fill in down low. Anyway, look over here. These lights were all at construction, plenty of lights, right? Well, I added more lights, sort of like a under cabinet light. The more the better. Lights are definitely worth it. All right. These, I guess, car roll around dollies. They're little jacks. You straddle the tire and then they jack up and then you can roll the car around the shop. I've used them a little bit and they're expensive, and I am going to say we're going to put them on the worthless end, even though I use them every once in a while. I don't get a lot of use out of them. Hey, so today we're doing worth it or worthless, nothing in between, right? So these are going to have to get the worthless rating. Technically, these could probably be right in the 50%, rate them out of 5 out of a 10 for usefulness or value. The shop cart, the steel cart, these are definitely worth it. The reasoning is the project, it's almost, you can never have too many of these. You put your project on these, you can work your project, you can store your stuff, you can keep organized, you can move it from one place to another. I find myself building an engine almost exclusively on a cart, and very infrequently do I ever use an engine stand anymore. Check back through the last 10 or so and see if I've used an engine stand maybe 1 out of 10 times, 2 out of 10. That'd be interesting to see. Carts are definitely worth it. Okay, you can get these at Summit, these engine stand drip trays. I think they're worth it for if you got an engine on an engine stand. These wall boards for pegboards or wall boards. Notice where I have them everywhere, all around. I actually have added so much stuff, so many items and pegs and shelves to my pegboards that it's getting cluttered, but definitely worth it. All right, let's go to it. The car lift, either a 4-post or a 2-post. This is my only one, my first one. It's one of the ones that are sourced from China, so it's China steel. But I got the biggest and most heavy duty, and it's movable. But this is definitely worth it. Okay, so it's expensive, but I find myself probably never using a jack, seldomly using a floor jack now. It's a time saver. I just roll her up on her. It's a space saver. It's a space saver because you can roll another vehicle under it, or you can have your car stored up there and, do work. And you can do work underneath it. The car lift, definitely worth it. So, the bench grinder, definitely worth it. And you get them at Lowe's. You can actually get them from Summit if you want. You can swap these out for polishing brushes and different stones, but bench grinder, worth it. Battery charger of any sorts. This is a heavy duty battery charger. Definitely worth it. I think I spent $100 on it on sale at a Napa. But this thing has, the 200 amp engine start mode, and it's pretty nice. Definitely worth it. I wanted to talk even about simple things. Okay, axle straps. Axle straps, you can never have too many, I think. These are definitely worth it for helping you tie down your race car in the trailer. But I actually kind of use them also in the shop. If I need to lift something, I'll hook up my little hoist, my little electric come along right there, and I can hoist things up using my lift as the support. Let's say I don't recommend it because that's not the use for a lift, but that's what I use it for in some cases. One of these Harbor Freight hydraulic lift tables, worth it. I get so much use out of this thing, helping me load things up into even engines up into the truck. I don't have to cherry pick them in. I just set them on there with the engine stand and hoist this up and take it up to the truck bed and slide her in. We're in the valuable area right now. Okay, nut and bolt caddy, worth it. I got this at, I think I got it at Harbor Freight. I don't know where, can't remember, but they're online. This thing, I can move it around between areas. If it's in the way here, I move it out over into the shop. But this thing is awesome. It might not be totally organized real nicely, but it helps me from having to look through buckets of bolts. These lights from Eastwood, worthless. Okay, they're very strong, but they're you can't use them for working around the shop because it's too much glare. It's not the right kind of light. They cost quite a bit, but they're worthless. Lights that are worth it are these broad, gentle light LED lights that right here. These hold a charge quite a while, and they charge up quickly. Very much worth it. Big roll around toolbox. Worth it. I can put it in the, if I got a car that I'm working on in here, I roll it here. If I'm working on an engine, I can roll her back here, have all my tools available. This keeps a majority of my tools. I have even the, like say the precision calibration tools in here, specialty tools. I have my CDs and my tech manuals in here. And then your typical tools. This is very much worth it. Speaking of tech manuals of all sorts are worth it. They might cost a bit, but once you get information, you can Google it, but drawings and schematics, very much worth it. So I try to keep anything that I'm kind of not the most organized person, but I realize how important these are, so I have them in a book. I try to keep these in good shape. Tech manuals are worth it. All right, Amazon vacuum leak finder smoke machine, worth it. You need to, this thing, if you just put it in your intake ducting, you'll find where there's leaks. All right, torque wrench, worth it. The prices, for a good quality one, the prices are coming down nowadays. So they're worth having multiple torque wrenches, worth it. All right, the power probe. Reference a video I made about a month ago about how useful this thing is. These things hook to your car battery, and then they will show you the actual voltage. They'll show you if there's a ground, and they'll apply 12 volts, or they'll apply a ground. And you can save a lot of time by testing components and circuits and fuses with the power probe. This has become more and more, your typical digital multimeter, this has become more and more worthless to me, even because this has taken the place of it. I had never thought I would rate something like this as worthless, but it's a go, no-go for this video. I'm going to have to call this worthless now, and this very much worth it. Okay, and the last thing for today, this happens to be the dongle, the HP tuners. So if you don't know anything about HP tuners, well, this is basically all it is, and you can do data logging with this thing and tuning of OBD2 cars. So you get it in a box, like that up there. You see it. And it'll come with that USB-C cable. They're about a little over $300 for unlicensed, but these are useful and worth it, especially for the data that it gives you. The really, really powerful software that is free, and you run it on your laptop. Diagnostic software. If you want to tune, well, you got to make sure you follow all the EPA rules for tuning, but you then would pay for the credits. It's probably $100 if you want to do a tune. You follow EPA rules, don't violate them, and this is one of the best tools that I've ever purchased. All right, what'd you think? Did you agree with my opinion on worth it or worthless? Let me know in the comments. I do appreciate critical comments. So that's going to be it for today. There'll be more videos like this. So until next time, this is Carl Elwine, Elwine Engines. Take care.